The Braves
Welcome
start
to the
their
source.
next series. Yeah. So Mets Brewers.
The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Are we definitely live right now? It's not coming through on mine yet. Just wait a second. It says excellent connection, which means we're probably going to be live in a second.
Yeah, not on my phone yet.
I definitely set the key. I mean, you saw me do it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep,
we're
we're live.
good.
We're live. For some reason, it just took a couple extra seconds. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday to all. Big weekend coming up. A lot of action on the board. I know a lot of people upset about not covering Cowboys at 5.5 last night. I want to say, though, I had Dallas minus 5.5 as well. Should have got on it early. I want to say that was the wrong side. Even if Aubrey hits that field goal and the Cowboys cover, Giants plus the points was the right bet all the way. They were moving the ball up and down the field. I mean, the Cowboys held them to 5 field goals. So, look, yes, it's tough the way at the end there that the Cowboys failed to cover. But if you're looking at that game objectively, there's no way if you're holding a Cowboys ticket that you watch that game and you're like, I deserve that cover. There's no way. If you're thinking that means you're not looking at it objectively. Cowboys minus 5.5 was the wrong side the entire time. Yes, we almost got it, but that's the NFL, man. That's betting sports. Sometimes the wrong side wins. If Aubrey hits that field goal and the Cowboys cover, we would have won our bet, but we were on the wrong side, period, whether he hits that field goal or not. So Giants was the play. They moved the ball in the Cowboys defense. Big win for the Cowboys. They needed it, but by no means are they cool with that. I mean, the Cowboys aren't like, oh, we're good. We're back on track. Like, that was shaky. I mean, that might have been Daniel Bones last night. Daniel Jones was very...
It was Bones.
I don't know. I don't know if it was a hybrid. It was a Daniel Bones hybrid.
I mean, how many more passes does he need to complete? That was all Dable right there. If Dable had any sack, I mean, touchdowns would have been scored, not field goals, and the Giants would have won that game straight up. It's a shame that Bones could have not really shown his true set.
I think it was Daniel Jones, but it was Daniel Jones' best game. How about that? It wasn't Bones. You would have known if it was Bones.
It was Bones.
But anyway, it's we're talking MLB first. We got how many games? 14.
Yeah,
Toast
but
was just-
half of them are like bad. So
Yeah,
Nobody-
I mean, we're at
nobody's-
that time
yeah.
of the year. So we're starting off with a screamer of a game. White Sox on the road in Detroit. Tigers minus 190. Ugh, I got a TBD for the Tigers pitcher.
Yep.
We don't even know.
Well, I was under the impression it was Casey Mize, and over the last 30 minutes or so, it's Brennan Heffery, who I
Wait a second. RotoWire still says Casey Mize.
Okay, so regardless, even if Casey Mize does start, he's only been pitching in 3 or 4 innings to start our total. And then you're going to get this kid, not to mention the fact that the Tigers bullpen is pretty taxed. I mean, not terrible, but Foley went last night. Holton went the other night. Bo Brisses went 2 of the last 3 nights. You're just at a point where you're going to be asking a lot of the lower level arms of the Tigers bullpen. The only wild card here would be Jackson Jobe. And if you don't know who Jackson Jobe is, he's like one of the highest prospects in Major League Baseball right now. He's a pitcher, usually a starter, but they're going to use him in the bullpen for this playoff run now. They brought him up for a reason, so maybe you see him a little bit today. I just think that this price is a little bit crazy with the Tigers. I do think they probably end up winning the game, but again, yesterday they were a heavy favorite. They won 4-3, so they've only won the run line 1 of their last 4 games. So the Tigers are winning games, yes, but you're paying out the ass if you're trying to get them on the money line at like 170 or so. Do I think they win the game? Probably. I mean, the White Sox are coming off a 3-game sweep of the Angels. I mean, do I think they win 4 in a row? Maybe. Again, it's an easy pass. Do I think Detroit wins? Yeah, but should anybody pay that price? Absolutely not.
Yeah, no way. Let's move on to game number 2. Phillies, Nationals. Trevor's back? Where's Trevor been?
He's coming off a nice little gem against the
No, where
Cubs.
was he been all year?
He was hurt. He's been hurt.
He's
yeah.
been hurt.
Yeah, it would be Nats or pass. I think there's a small chance that this game ends up getting rained out. There's like a 70% chance of win. There's like 14-mile-an-hour winds blowing in, so pretty nasty. Again, neither one of these teams have anything to play for. Obviously, the Phillies are going to the playoffs, but everything's all locked up for them. So Again, it would be Nats or pass if they played, just because the Nats versus left-handed pitching is a little bit better than normal, especially compared to right-handed pitching. Not to mention the fact that Trevor Williams has had some decent success against the Phillies. He did have a start against the Phillies last year when they were rolling in Washington, where he went six innings, didn't give up any runs, and like I said, he looked pretty decent in Chicago his first time out, and he went a full 5 innings, only gave up 3 hits. So it's not like he went out there and gave up a whole bunch of hits and got lucky with double plays or anything. So he did pitch well. So again, on the number, I would lean the Nats just because they have a little. I mean, it's always nice probably to beat a team like the Phillies if you're young kids like the Nats, but there's no really betting interest for me.
Phillies aren't playing for shit, right?
No, they're not.
Dude, I'd be down. I'd be inclined to take a stab on Trevor there.
I think it's going to end up getting rained out, but.
All right, next game. Pirates, Yankees, Jared Jones, Carlos Rodon in Yankee Stadium. Yankees just clinched last night. You were there in attendance. Did you stay for the end?
Oh yeah, we stayed all 9 innings. I'm going to take a stab with the Pirates here in the first 5. I obviously everybody knows it's a hangover spot for the Yankees. Yes, but at the same time. I don't really think that Carlos Rodon is a guy at home that I'm trying to back on a regular basis. I mean, he does have some decent home starts, but his home starts are like Boston, the Royals, Colorado. I mean, teams that literally can't hit to save their life. I mean, and you can even keep on going farther back. Texas, the Rays, Cincinnati. I mean, he had a start against Texas, or the Toronto when they were kind of hitting a little bit. But my point being, and I understand that the Pirates aren't a juggernaut either, but they are a little bit better versus left-handed hitting. They're guys like O'Neal Cruz, Brian Reynolds, and Brian De La Cruz that they got over the trade line, IKF, all better versus left-handed pitching. I really, the Yankees offense hasn't really impressed me the last couple of nights. I understand they scored 10 runs yesterday. They didn't get a sniff off of Corbin Burns. They pull Baltimore pulls Corbin Burns with 59 or 69. I think it was 69 pitches, and he's rolling. And then the Yankees score 6 runs because Cano is absolutely terrible. So again, I'm just not at a point where I feel like the Yankees offense is really special right now. Add on the fact that they've been trying to clinch for 3 days now, and they finally got that monkey off their back. I'd see it as a definite flat spot here against the Pirates. So again, it's plus 150. I put a half a unit on it. It's nothing crazy, but I can't. There's no way I can play the Yankees at this price.
I'm down with that. I'll tail that. Pirates first 5 money line, the hangover spot, no Judge in the lineup. I'm with it.
Oh, even no Judge, even better.
Yeah, no Judge confirmed too. I just looked at it.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
Plus 145.
And Verdugo's back in the lineup. Grissom's in the lineup. Oh yeah, it's the
Did
JV.
you say Verdugo had pink batting gloves on last night?
Yeah, it was so funny. I mean, it was like typical New York. He's come to plate. He's on the on-deck circle. They're all booing him. He comes up, hits a home run. They're all cheering him. It was just
welcome to the Northeast.
Oh, it was beautiful. But yeah, it's definitely the JV squad for the Yankees today at the bottom of the lineup with Volpe, Grisham, Trevino, and Cabrera.
Whoa, DraftKings changed their interface here. First 5 innings used to be right there.
I know.
There it is.
It got me on the field goal props earlier today. I got all excited thinking Younghoe Koo was a GOAT, and I just can't read.
Pirates first 5, just placed it. I'm in. All right, what's the next game?
Boston.
Next game is Marlins, Blue Jays in Toronto. Oliver's. Oh, Barrios.
Yeah. If you bet, I wanted to bet the first 5 run line. It's like minus 150 now. So there's just no betting value. I don't think there's any betting value in this game unless you really want to take a shot with Miami, who, as we all know, I can't believe I didn't bet that yesterday, but Miami wins another road getaway game as a huge plus 200 dog yesterday in 13 innings. Again, Barrios has been extremely good. That's what I wanted to play the Blue Jays first 5 run line because Barrios has, over his last 7 starts, he's almost been untouchable, and I'm not even exaggerating. He's been fantastic against Tampa Bay, St. Louis, Atlanta, Minnesota, Boston, Cincinnati, and LA. He's given up more than 2 runs 1 time. He had a really bad start against his Miami team last year on the road. I don't really put too much stock into that, but people have asked about if I worry about that. I don't. Again, not to mention the fact that Miami just played a 13-inning game and had to travel. I think the Blue Jays probably lead after 5 innings. Am I going to pay minus 150 to see it? Absolutely not. So, Blue Jays are pass.
Nah, no way, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Rays, Boston. Man, fuck this series, too.
Yep.
Taj Bradley, though, in Fenway.
Absolutely. It's razor pass. There's no question about that. I think that Taj Bradley is starting to pitch a little bit better now. He had that blow-up start in Philadelphia on the road, but his last 2 starts against teams that also can't hit, very similar to Boston and Cleveland and Toronto, 9 total innings, only 3 runs. Pitched in Boston earlier this year when 5 innings, only gave up 2 runs. I would assume that Bradley pitches well here against this Boston team that ended up scoring some runs against Minnesota, but again, I've said this team is dead for about a month now, and I'm not going to change my mind on it. So it'd be razor pass. This series, when these 2 teams play, it's just weird. Like 2 years ago, the Rays killed them. Last year, or I'm sorry, it was the other way around. The Rays were like 11-2 against Boston. The year before that, Boston killed them, and now it's like tied. Like it's just weird. So I honestly believe this is an absolute coin flip. So it's razor pass, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not inclined to put any money on a series like this. The only reason I told you on that Pirates one is because Jared Jones had kind of a roller coaster year, and in Yankee Stadium, like I could see him.
Exactly. That's like the one spot he could get up for. Yeah,
he's like pitching for his reputation, kind of, because like I don't know, maybe some people sold on him. So I could see Jared Jones come out there and looking to have a
technically,
big one.
I mean, with the fact that Skeens is well and they have other guys coming up, I mean, I don't think he's fighting for a spot in that rotation, but he definitely wants to leave a good taste in their mouth.
You mean Rookie of the Year Skeens? Next.
I'm not taking that bait.
Houston, Cleveland, and Cleveland Blanco pitching against, what is it, Cantillo?
Yeah.
For the Guards?
Yeah. I want to see what the price is, just so I can see. Yeah. Again, I would say Cleveland or pass. Just again, only because Cleveland's at home. Cleveland 50-28 at home this year. They just play different, and not to mention the fact Joey Cantillo finding himself a little bit. Got a get right start against the White Sox, where he went 7 innings, only gave up 1 run, and then back to back another very good solid starts against Minnesota and Tampa Bay. Houston's coming off that Seattle series where they clinched the division and ended up losing. Had that game on Wednesday where they were winning the whole game, and then they blew it completely late. So again, neither one of these teams have anything to play for. They both have clinched their division. Again, it's Cleveland or pass just because they're at home. I don't really see much value in this game either.
Yeah, I'm good here too, man. Let's go on to the next one. Royals, Braves. Okay, we got a team playing for something here. Max Fried on the mound. Man, I would love to see a Royals win. I really would feel more comfortable taking a shot with the Royals if they were home, because Brady Singer, I trust in Kansas City a lot more on the road. But also, man, Kansas City just hasn't been scoring runs, right?
Kansas City hasn't been scoring runs, not to mention the fact that you add on we'll just start with Max Fried. Hasn't been like overly impressive, but again, going 6-7 innings in all of his starts, he's only given up more than 3 runs more than 3 runs once over his last 7 starts. But the thing that gets me with Kansas City, one, obviously they're not scoring runs. That's 100% true, Kyle. And on the second thought, if you take a look at their lineup, especially today, you're going to see only, I think, 2 left-handed pitches are hitters. Let me take Massey and Isabel. Yeah, Fried dominant versus right-handed batters, which obviously you see 7 righty bats in their lineup. Really not good against lefties. So there's only 2 guys that one guy in Massey that I worry about. If not, Max Fried should have a very significant advantage, especially starting pitching-wise over Brady Singer, who's been somewhat average and been really hit hard his last 2 starts. And oh, by the way, those last 2 starts, the Giants and the Pirates. So really hard to get there. And then on the cherry on top, if you take a look at that Kansas City bullpen, it is taxed to oblivion. Lucas Urseg, 3 of the last 4 days he's pitched, or 3 straight days actually. Chris Bubik, 2 of the last 3 days. Josh Schneider, 2 are back-to-back days. Daniel Lynch didn't pitch yesterday, but he pitched 42 previous. Sam Long, 2 of the last 3 days. Zerpa, 3 days in a row as well.
So Braves -1.5.
Yeah, I played Braves -1.5 at a plus price. Probably square, but I honestly, this on paper, this is like a 5-1 Braves win. Like this should be. I hate saying stuff like that, but I honestly don't see anything different.
Wait a second, Kansas City's playing for something too, though. But you said they've been playing for. Wait, are they playing for something?
They've been playing something for a week too. Yeah, they're 3-7. Their last 10. They're 10-10. Their last.
Yeah, they got a 3-game lead though on the Twins.
Not to mention the fact that they got all 3 of those games against Washington. They won 1-0 in extra innings. They won 3-0, and then the next game they won, I think they ended up blowing them.
No, I think they scored 7 runs in the last one.
Yeah, but so 2 of those 3 games against Washington, they easily could have lost.
All right, so let's move on to the next one. Braves -1.5. Baltimore, Minnesota. Pablo Day.
It's Pablo Day.
Have the Twins been hitting lefties at all? Povich is pitching for Baltimore.
I'm actually glad that you brought that up because absolutely not. They have not been hitting.
Because absolutely not.
Left-handed pitchers to see the Twins. The last few that have seen the Twins. Shout out Ryan Weathers, 5 innings, 1 run. Our boy Joey Cantillo, 4 1/3, 1 run. Reed Detmers, 6 innings, 2 runs. Cole Reagan, 6 innings, no runs. Chris Sale, Max Fried, of course, they're going to pitch well. But no, they're not hitting left-handed pitching well. I played Baltimore on the money line. I think that Minnesota's dead after what we saw last night. They losing all the tiebreakers. They have no tiebreakers. I mean, they essentially put Kansas City in the playoffs with that loss last night. And not to mention the fact that Pablo Lopez over his last 4 starts has been average to me. You don't get points, Pablo, for going into Cleveland against, even though they do play well at home. We know Cleveland can't hit right-handed pitching, so you don't get points with me going into Cleveland and going 6 innings, 2 runs. At home against the Angels, you went 7 innings, yeah, but you also gave up 4 runs and a big nuke to Zach Neto. I mean, you gave up 7 runs on the road to Boston, 7 runs to the Red Sox. Like, you should be relegated from Major League Baseball. You don't even deserve another start right now. And honestly, like, I think this line just doesn't make sense to me. And the Twins have been huge favorites almost for a week now. They're 3-7 their last 10. They're 7-13 their last 20. There's just no way you can pay that price. Yeah, Baltimore got absolutely shellacked yesterday. But at the same time, like, I really think that was an aberration at times because, I mean, obviously I was there, but, I mean, it was a 1-0 game until Corbin Burns left that game. And then, obviously, Stanton did his thing. But I just don't feel like Baltimore's playing really bad right now. I think that those 2 wins against the Yankees really helped them. And, again, everybody's losing to Detroit. So I don't really put a whole bunch of stock in them losing 2 or 3 to Detroit either. So, and also, by the way, Cade Povich over his last 4 starts has been pretty damn decent as well. 2 starts back-to-back against the Tigers, which, again, I'm going to continue to say this every time. When you face the Tigers over the last month, that's an impressive start. And he faced them back-to-back times, but 5 innings each time, only gave up 2 runs. He had a really good start against the White Sox. I mean, the Dodgers got to him. Boston got to him a little bit. But, again, you're going to take it with a grain of salt if you want to, but regardless, I do think that Cade Povich is pitching just fine, and Minnesota's absolutely looks dead right now. So again, I played Baltimore on the money line at plus 145. I'm willing to take my chances. Minnesota is dead in the water. Dead in the water.
I'm good. It looks like everyone watching is taking Baltimore too. 65%, 25% on the O's.
That I don't like.
So everyone's fading Pablo Lopez. I don't know. I think Pablo's going to deal. I'd say under or pass. Next up.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind an under.
Rockies, Dodgers, Cal Quantrill. Big Cal's on the mound here in Dodger Stadium. I got a TBD for the... Tony? It's Gonsolin?
It is. It's Tony the Cat. We're fading his ass, though. Rockies money line. Dodgers finally clinched the division yesterday, clinched a home field advantage, all that stuff, and now they have to fly up to Coors. Tony the Cat hasn't pitched in the major leagues for a while. Not to mention the fact that the Rockies aren't winning a whole bunch of games, but I don't think they're playing bad. Not to mention the fact they just played this Dodgers team less than a week ago, and they lost 4-6. They won 6-3, and they lost 6-5. In that loss, their bullpen gave up back-to-back home runs in the bottom of the ninth to lose. So I don't feel like the Rockies are very intimidated by the Dodgers. And like I said, the Dodgers. Oh, and on top of all that, it's a spot that I love to play the Rockies. We're getting the Rockies who just had a series at home, and now they didn't have to travel, and they're facing a team that had to travel and played last night against the Padres and clinched the division. This is like a flat spot among all flat spots for the Dodgers. I played Rockies money line. I really did.
All right. Next up, I'm not telling that. Tony, bro. You forgot your roots. You literally called him Tony the Rent Payer Gonsolin for an entire season.
He was the rent payer for so long.
So for you to just turn your back on somebody that was so kind to you, maybe that just shows something about your character.
Maybe. But if he gets lit up tonight, I'm going to be really happy.
All right, next up. Oh, it's Grimace. So Mets, Brewers, and obviously very meaningful game for the Mets. Not so much for the Brewers. Minaya, you taking me? I mean... Frankie Montas, I love fading on the road. I love fading him against a bunch of lefties. Mets don't really have a bunch of lefties in the lineup, and he's at home in Milwaukee. The Mets need this game, but I'm a little worried that this might be a rough one for him. I mean, I think Frankie could pitch well.
I would agree that like Frankie pitches well. I don't think that, but I do think. I mean, I guess with Lindor out, it does suck because he's that switch at the top. Is he for sure? 100%. Because dude, your computer sucks, Andy. It doesn't even freaking reload.
Lindor's.
For me.
I mean, he says he's in the expected lineup.
No, it's confirmed.
Oh,
now.
confirmed.
I see
He's
it
in.
now.
Lindor's playing.
Andy's computer just sucks. Everybody, it's okay. Well, now that I'm just giving you shit, Andy. Lindor a lefty, Nimmo a lefty, Winker a lefty. I like that. Regardless, I'm on the Mets. I'm on Grimace. I'm going to continue to try to play them as much as possible to end this season. I mean, 14-6 their last 20, 6-4 their last 10. Do I love Sean Manaea? Absolutely not. But at the same time, I don't trust Frankie Montas at all. And Kyle is absolutely right. The splits aren't really working in our favor. You want Frankie Montas when there's a whole bunch of lefties in the lineup. But there's just no way I can fade Grimace at this price. Not to mention the fact that Milwaukee's not playing for anything. Also, Milwaukee really isn't playing well over the last couple weeks. They're 5-5 their last 10. They're 10-10 their last 20. And they're playing, again, they took 2 or 3 out against Pittsburgh. Like, who cares? So Frankie Montas had one good start on the road in San Francisco. Besides that, it's a whole bunch of mediocre starts against Oakland, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, and Arizona. Obviously, Philadelphia and Arizona are good, but Philadelphia didn't have anything to play for at the time. So nothing really impressed by Frankie Montas. Mets have everybody rested and available in their bullpen. Milwaukee used what's his face, Devin Williams last night, and somebody else. But I mean, everything else is good to go. But there's no way I can pass up the Mets at a cheap price like this.
All right, don't even
No
do
way.
the poll. We're going to the next game. Next game is Rangers, Angels, and it looks like we got 3 more left, and we're doing college football. So next up, Rangers, Angels, division rivalry here. The Grominator on the mound. I'm good. I mean, who knows how long he's even pitching, right?
Yeah, he'll probably pitch 3 innings like he has all of his other starts. I mean, the price is just. I mean, if you wanted to play with DeGrom in the first 5, I think it's like 200 or something like that. So
Yeah, let's just jump right to the.
yeah. Again, no interest in betting these dog crap teams.
Oh, here you go. So what is this situation? The Padres have clinched.
The Padres have clinched a
So even if
playoff
Arizona
spot.
sweeps them,
Yes, we're in the playoffs no matter what.
can Arizona jump them?
I think they can. I think if I haven't looked into it.
So this
that
isn't a
much.
meaningless game. The
It's
Padres
not-
don't want to take the 6 or the 7. They want that 5. They want that home
Yeah,
series.
the Padres. If the Padres need one more win to clinch the number 1 wild card spot.
Right. So,
So
this,
there
I think they're
is-
still playing.
Yeah, there's some meaning to this as well. It's just a question if you trust Pooh Darvish. And I don't know if I want to do that. My heart tells me that I think that they win because I will say this: the Padres have kind of owned Merrill Kelly in his career. He had a couple starts like a few years ago that were decent against him, but over the last couple years, essentially since 2022, the Padres have really had his number. He's looked. My issue is that I trust Merrill Kelly. I think Kyle can trust Merrill Kelly. I think that he's shown us enough that he's to trust him. And since coming back from injury, it was a little bit shaky. And then his next 2 starts, he has a really good history in his career against Colorado. He pitched really well in Colorado, and then went on the road in Milwaukee in a game that meant something for both teams at the time last week, and went 5 innings shutout. So I'm just not at a point where I can confidently come in here and say that I think the Padres are going to get to Merrill Kelly. Not to mention you have the Padres coming off that Dodger series where they lost 2 in a row. I really don't love the spot for the Padres here today. So it would be Arizona or pass for me. Not to mention the fact that the Padres have been using their bullpen the last couple nights. Arizona hasn't. So yeah, it's Arizona or pass for me, as much as I hate to say it.
Yeah, it sucks. I think it's a Diamondback spot also. I hope to God I'm wrong, because a D-backs loss very seriously helps the Mets situation.
I think that Merrill Kelly pitches really well here today. Personally.
I like Merrill Kelly,
Unfortunately,
too.
I know. That's what sucks.
I'd say it'd only be snakes for me here.
Yeah.
Next up. Craig Wood says, I've been following through with the Comic Sans Oral Roberts tattoo. That's a throwback. March Madness 2022. Still there. It's a real tattoo.
It's still there.
Still a tattoo on my ass that says Oral Roberts from that damn fucking game. All right, next up. Oakland, Seattle. In Seattle, JP Sears pitching against TBD. TBD's been good.
Yeah, TBD is now confirmed for Brian Wu.
Ooh, I can get down with some woo. What's the price of this?
Mariners first 5 run line -110. Let's make sure it's still available, but I guarantee it's got to be close. Yeah, -110, -115, wherever you want to buy
Oakland's got a bunch of righties in the lineup. Woo at home. 5 shutout innings from Woo.
I was just about, took the words out of my mouth. On top of that, Oakland just played their last game in the Coliseum, and now they have to travel up to Seattle after that emotional win. Again, neither two of these teams are playing for anything, but Brian Woo has absolutely dominated Oakland in his career. I think it's like 30-some innings, or maybe like mid-20s innings, but he's only given up 2 runs in his career against Oakland. Not to mention the fact that the last time Brian Woo pitched at home, he got absolutely obliterated by the Yankees. I bet you he comes back and pitches really well here. I wouldn't mind a first 5 under either if it's like 4. But
how do you know Prop Beaver's producing the show?
3.5.
He takes the time to do the perfect dark blue background for the Mariners bet. Like, if it was me doing it, I would never take the time to do that. So, the perfect Mariners dark blue behind the turquoise. But all right, last MLB game, then we'll talk college football. We're looking at Cardinals, Giants, Michaelis against Rupp.
Yeah. Same bet. Giants first 5 run line to me. Again, I talked about the Giants last week on the show and why I've been betting them a lot. And it's not they are one of those teams that have nothing to play for, but the Giants run their organization a little bit differently. You saw them sign Matt Chapman. There's a lot of talk that they're going to sign Blake Snell as well. My point to all that being, and like I'll say it again, is that I think they're trying to build something into next season. And we've seen that. They're 7-3 their last 10 games, especially after that home series against the Padres. That road trip really kicked them off with that 10-0 victory against Baltimore, and they really haven't looked back. And now they're back at home, and they're catching a Colorado team that looked somewhat decent in their last couple games against Colorado. But at the same time, Miles Michaelis on the road has been an absolute fade. Over his last 7 starts, he only has 2 starts on the road. Both of them were mediocre at best. And then Landon Rupp at the same time, I mean, since becoming a starter for the Giants, has pitched extremely well against Milwaukee, the Royals, and the Padres. 5 innings in all those, and he only gave up two runs to the Brewers, and he blanked the Padres and he blanked the Royals. So I have a hard time believing that he doesn't pitch well here against this Cardinals team coming out of Coors, and a Cardinals team that I don't trust in the first place. I played Giants first 5 run line for them to continue to stay hot. They had 1 bad game in Arizona, and we watched most of that game, and they had multiple chances in that game to score. They probably wouldn't have won. But again, my point being is that I trust the Giants here tonight.
Yeah, I'm not tailing that.
I figured.
All right, let's talk college football. Toast? I mean, you're sitting right here, so I'll talk to you in a second. All right, let's talk some college football. We got Grissom and Andy in the background. Time to headphone up. Can you guys hear me? Grissom, you hear me? Cool. All right, Andy's nickname today is Dice. Yeah, Dice with a question mark. All right, so first up is Virginia Tech, Miami, and I'll just share my opinion first. Probably if you could put Virginia Tech plus the points up for me. And if you guys watch the video I posted on YouTube, you guys already know I'm on this. Actually, full disclosure, I put a few dollars on the money line, but by no means am I saying, oh, Virginia Tech's gonna go out here and beat Miami. It's moved 10 points. The look-ahead line for this game was Miami -7.5. We're now getting more than 17. And didn't we just go through this with the Eagles and Saints? Didn't we just go through these dramatic overreactions? And look, I get why the market has moved that much. I mean, Miami looks unbelievable, and Virginia Tech got off to a very rocky start, but I think we're starting to see the ship right itself for Virginia Tech. I know they lost that Rutgers game, but really like some of the things I've seen the last couple weeks for Virginia Tech. Drones is starting to get it going with his legs. It's averaging over 8 yards a carry. I think it's 8.25 yards per carry in his last 2 games. The Virginia Tech we thought we were going to see this season, we're finally starting to see. And in football especially, first impressions are huge. So we see Virginia Tech come out in the first half of Vanderbilt, get their asses beat for the first 2 quarters of that game, and everyone's like, Virginia Tech, not what we thought. They suck. And we're finally starting to see the Virginia Tech we were expecting to see that was only projected to be a touchdown underdog to Miami in this game. So I like the way Virginia Tech's projecting. I also like Kyron Drones to show us his best game of the year right here on the big stage, prime time on the road in Miami. Really like all that. Also, what I really like from Virginia Tech last week, shut down the Rutgers rushing attack, which has looked really good. Now, Rutgers up until that point, hadn't played anybody. So you can't be like, oh, they stopped the unstoppable Rutgers rushing attack. Okay, they're running the ball on Howard. But Rutgers is going to be a pretty tough run game to stop this year. Virginia Tech held Monongai to what, like 3.3 yards per carry or something like that? They held the Rutgers team to like 2.2 yards per carry. The Virginia Tech defensive front showed up last week against Rutgers, and that puts the Miami offense, because the Miami defense, I co-sign. It's official. It was great against the run last year. I'm cool with that. It's the Miami offense that I have a little bit of pushback against. They haven't played anybody. Miami's offense hasn't seen a single defense yet. I mean, the toughest defense on paper that Miami's seen so far is Florida. And maybe at the time in the swamp, we were like, oh, Miami, Cam Ward. Now looking back, seeing what Florida is, what kind of team Billy Napier's got out there, it's not even that impressive. I mean, that team looks terrible. Other than that, I mean, what defenses have they seen? Ball State? South Florida? South Florida's defense is not good. So this is kind of a buy low, sell high spot on Virginia Tech, and a little bit of a fade of the hype on Miami's offense. So I'm on the Hokie side. I know everyone's going to be against me here. I'm getting a big number. Drones, show me something. What do you guys think about that? Whoever wants to go first, I don't care.
You can go ahead, Grissom.
I'm going to pull the Lee Corso line and say not so fast, my friend. Miami ranked #1 in EPA offense, 4th in offensive success rate in the pass compared to Virginia Tech's passing offense that ranks 114th. Yeah, they played a decent game against Rutgers last week, still lost. I think Miami, this is their coming out party. As long as Mario Cristobal doesn't fumble the bag and do something stupid, our projections on our site, collegefootballinsiders.com, it has Miami a 24-point win. I don't see how Virginia Tech's going to be able to move the ball. Miami ranks 7th in defensive success rate. They're pretty much stacked in every category. And yeah, you can chalk it up to they haven't played anybody. Florida, we saw, their defense looked good against Mississippi State, but what is that saying? I don't know, man. I think Miami here is the right side. Until they prove you that they can't do it, I think Miami's just a force you don't want to step in front of.
It makes sense. And it makes sense that your website has the model projected as 24. I said something like that too on YouTube. I was like, guys, based on the production we've seen, this should be a 3 touchdown. I said something similar. So I get it. My angle is I don't think the Virginia Tech offense we've seen so far is the offense that they are. I think that we've only seen glimpses of what it is. And I'm throwing a little bit of, hey, Virginia Tech's offense was kind of shit for the first few weeks last year also. In the second half of the year, Drones kind of he didn't even have the starting job in the beginning. And then the second half of the year, Virginia Tech offense was different. So a little bit of that, a little bit of we've seen this offense slow starting. I don't know. Obviously, Miami has looked unstoppable. So there's that. Andy,
and Tech,
go ahead.
I was higher on Tech. They've made me look like an idiot. I mean, I thought with the amount of players that were returning to that team, thought they'd be a lot better. So I get the play based on the principle alone.
Yeah. I am with you. I was big on Virginia Tech coming into the season so far myself. I haven't actually placed the Virginia Tech bet yet. So they haven't actually bit me. So maybe I'm less scorned by them. Andy, break the tie here.
Yeah, screw this VTech team. I bet him over 8.5 wins. That looks dead. I bet him week 1 against Vanderbilt. That was dead. I couldn't bet him last week because legally we can't bet in New Jersey. We couldn't bet the Rutgers game. I wanted to bet him last week. Thank God I didn't. I was going to bet their money line too. It seems bitten me a lot. And I think Kyle said made a good point. I don't think that this is the Miami offense that we're going to see. And I think it's more the style. I'm a little bit surprised. Obviously, you have Cam Ward, so you want to throw the ball a ton. And they've been throwing the ball a ton. I don't think they're going to have to do that here. VTech's run defense it looked better against Rutgers, don't get me wrong, but Rutgers also runs the ball a million times. So those numbers are going to be jaded. I mean, Kyle Monongai had 26 rush attempts in that game, so that was just going to be a brutal number no matter what. Before that, Vanderbilt, Marshall, I mean, those teams were running all over them. So I think that Miami's going to lean on the run game a lot more here, which is why I have a rushing prop. If I was to pick a side, I'd side Miami. But I also have Damian Martinez, 70-plus rush yards.
You're obsessed with this dude.
So, yeah, if you remember him, he's the guy I said he's a star.
Oregon
that's it.
State
He's a
last
star.
year. If
But
you
no,
don't,
in all seriousness, he is their veteran back, and in your first ACC game, you're definitely going to want to lean on a guy who's played in conference games before. Obviously, it was the Pac-12, but he's more of a veteran. They have a young running back, Lyles, who they've been using, but I don't expect to see him as much here. Martinez in a game like this, I think he'll get a lot of carries early. Like, obviously, Miami knows they can throw the ball, and Virginia Tech knows they can throw the ball. So I think Virginia Tech's going to be more focused on stopping the pass. So I think that this is going to be an early game where they just ground and pound and run the ball a ton early, and he can get this pretty quickly. He's only done this once so far this year, but they've kind of been limiting him the last couple of weeks, trying to keep him healthy for this stretch of the schedule for ACC play. So I think that he can definitely get this in all four games that Virginia Tech has played so far. Somebody has ran for at least 70 yards. In one game, it was the quarterback, Diego Pavia. In the last 3 games, it has been a running back. That includes Marshall's running back. That includes Old Dominion's running back, Kyle Monangai last week. Everybody's running on this team right now, so I 100% think that the veteran back will get his carries and get this number here. But I also would lean Miami if I was picking a side. I think they will crush him.
so I guess I'm on my own hokey island. Don't care. I'll be on my own island. The viewers are siding with you guys as well. 51% on Miami, 31% on Virginia Tech. So it's not overwhelming. It's not like the heavy public side, but action definitely seems to be leaning towards the Miami side. Let's go Hokies. All right, next. Grissom, I don't know if you're... Andy predicted that you're going to be anti-Rutgers and anti-New Jersey. This is our moment in the sun, man. We don't get much college football here in New Jersey. This is our moment. Me and Andy are in New Jersey, and I'm pretty excited about this game. So you're in Arkansas, right, Grissom?
Yeah.
So down there, you have the privilege of people down there are into college football. Your friends are probably into college football. That's not the case here. Of my group of friends here, I'm the only one that likes college football. But this year, and that's just not my friend. That's not just my friends. College football's not that big in New Jersey. But this year, because of the Rutgers hype, because of what's going on, I'm getting texts from people. People are starting to tune in. So this is a big game in Rutgers history. Probably the biggest game in 20 years. So I can't bet this game because it's a New Jersey game and I'm not legally allowed to. I'm rooting for Rutgers. I as far as a betting angle, I don't know. I feel like most people I talk to like Washington. I'm rooting Rutgers though, so you can put Rutgers up for me, Prop Beaver. But I kind of want to hear Grissom's take on are you buying it with Rutgers? Are you in?
No, I'm not. So you're right. Although I will say the Arkansas connection, Rutgers and Arkansas played a home and home in 2012, 2013. Rutgers won both of them. But I am on Washington here, and we have them projected as a slight favorite. I don't even think it's a point, so it's a toss-up. But I trust Jed Fish and Will Rogers more than Athan Kalakmanis. Although he's played decently, the Minnesota transfer, I think Fish has inherited a lot more than what he did at Arizona, and he won there. I think he's going to continue to win. The slip-up was Washington State. That was a bad bet by me. Rutgers coming off a good win against Virginia Tech. Washington's only loss was to Washington State 2 weeks ago, and they responded well. They beat Northwestern 24-5 last week. I do have one favorite bet in this, though. Bet the first quarter over 9.5.
First quarter over. Interesting. I'm listening. Why is there a reason? What is the reason behind it?
Yeah, we've been working on a little projection using early down success mixed with offensive success rate versus defensive success rate in the first opening drive. Because, typically the first couple drives are scripted. So we like to pinpoint teams that are successful at getting points out of their first possession. And lo and behold, this one fits the bill. We have a 2.98 margin in this one. So all things lean to bet the over. We expect there to be 13.31 points scored. So 13 points.
Couple early scoring drives. First quarter over 9.5. Creative. I like it. What about dice?
Obviously, I'm rooting for Rutgers here, and I think Rutgers is going to win. I think there's going to be a lot of field goals in this one.
I thought you said you liked Washington.
As I've looked more into it.
In your defense, I believe it was +3 when you said that.
Yeah, as I've looked more into it and overall, I think that there's certain advantages Rutgers has that I don't know. We don't know a lot about. I mean, honestly, we don't know much about Rutgers either. But if you've watched Rutgers, you can kind of tell what they're going to be good at, right? They're going to
They
run
can't
the ball
stop
a
the
ton.
run, though. I don't know what's.
They can't stop the run, but like that's not Jedfish. Jedfish doesn't run the ball. So like, and they have Will Rogers. They're going to run the ball. So like, in terms of like the play style, stylistically, this Rutgers team fits in this matchup. Now, this is something this program's never been through. They've never been through a game like this. Shiano, not necessarily not a game like this, but there's a lot of hype. It's been a long time since Rutgers had any semblance of hype. Place is going to be crazy. We'll see how they respond. I expect a lot of field goals, honestly. I expect this game to be some early field goals. Maybe later in the game you get these Friday night games have seemed to have a lot of touchdowns late in the games. But early field goals, like drives that just kind of stall. Rutgers has had a lot of those this year. They had a few of them against Akron where it was like, well, why are you kicking field goals against Akron? Well, sometimes their drives just stall, and having a quarterback like Kalik Manis kind of helps that because he does stall drives pretty easily. So yeah, I think that this will be a game where it'll be lower scoring early on, but I'm on Rutgers here. I think that I know it's a lot of hype, and I'm a little nervous that they're going to go.
I'm surprised. I could have sworn, and we didn't have a direct conversation about this game in the office, but I swear,
honestly,
based on what you said, I thought you were leaning the other way here.
Honestly, it comes down to, frankly, like if you can run the ball, I think you're going to crush Rutgers. Like I don't think they play Ohio State this year, but like if Ohio State played Rutgers, I think they'd run for like 9 yards a carry. Rutgers' run defense has been embarrassing. I mean, Akron ran all over them, but it comes stylistically that's just not Washington. That's not Jedfish. So like, if you run the ball on Rutgers, good luck. You're going to do a good job. But this is a tough secondary. I mean, they've had great corners come out of Rutgers for years. This defense is supposed to be really good. They've had injuries that have hurt their run defense, but their pass defense is going to be fine. I mean, so yeah, if you can run, you'll beat Rutgers, but I don't see that from Washington.
Yeah, I like. So we'll move on to the next game. Disclaimer: I didn't bet this. I'm not even allowed to bet it in New Jersey. This is what I'm rooting for, type of thing. I think the line's kind of perfect. I think at 3 you had to take Washington as far as what a handicap would say. Under 3, I mean, just pick your side. To be honest, I maybe I don't know. I'm rooting for Rutgers. How about that? And now let's do the Arkansas Texas A&M game. 1 second. Let's get those graphics up here. I did a video on this game, and so 1 second, let me scroll to my
I went
notes.
from Arkansas's biggest hater to loving them after last week.
You're loving them? All right, well, let's let Grissom go first. He's the Arkansas guy.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts coming off the big upset win?
Well, I will start with I took them plus 10.5 before the season got started in the look ahead line, which looks like it was good value, although this line has kind of moved around. Texas A&M, they've won 4 of the last 5 here at Jerry World. And fun fact, though, Bobby Petrino is 3-0 against Texas A&M when he coached at Arkansas. I do think there's probably a little bad blood there, even though Jimbo Fisher is gone. The whole Aggie team, I feel like this is our last year there. You might as well go out with a bang. It helps with Texas recruits. We've got a lot of guys, Taylor Green, Jaquinta Jackson. They're all coming home to play in this game. They're from the DFW area. I think there's a lot of added motivation. And you look at, all right, what's Arkansas's problem? They can't close out games. They proved that they could finally do it against UAB and Auburn. They played their worst game against Auburn, still found a way to win by double digits. I just feel like you have not seen this Arkansas team play at the level that Bobby Petrino demands. And they made the blame on the wind and then the heat in Auburn and Oklahoma State. Like every game's been an excuse for Taylor Green and why he's been bad. You're in a dome now. So if this isn't your best game in a Razorback uniform, you might as well go back to Boise State. But I feel like Arkansas plus the 6 or whatever you can get it at now, I feel like that's the way to go. I've not been impressed with Texas A&M. The only thing that I can think of why this line is moving is that it's trending towards Connor Weigman getting the start.
Man, why would that even – did you see him?
Exactly. I actually think they would be better starting their backup. What is it, Ellis? He looked like he was in command of the offense way more than Connor Weigman ever has been. I think whoever starts, though, we're going to have a game plan for both of them. I think Arkansas – maybe first half plus 3.5, whatever you can get it at. Because Arkansas does tend to let leads disappear in the third quarter. It's all about being able to close it out. We saw that against Oklahoma State. So, shocker, I'm on the Hogs.
Shocker. My thoughts on this one. I did a video on this one, and I think we could just start to look at Texas A&M for the new defense. Obviously, Mike Elko's there now, and I, for the first few weeks, was just expecting, hey, it's Texas A&M. They're going to have an elite pass rush. They always do. They brought in the transfer from Purdue, that dude that led the Big Ten in sacks. So I was like, Texas A&M, they'll have a top 5 pass rush, right? Just because they always do, and they have NFL caliber players rushing the passer. Here's the thing, it ain't there. And maybe the way Mike Elko coaches his defense just isn't really ideal for an elite pass rush, because this Texas A&M defense is just built differently. So normally I would look at Arkansas's pass protection numbers and be like, oh, Taylor Green's going to be in trouble here. But the thing is, Texas A&M isn't generating pressure on the passer. Connor Bazelak, behind the Bowling Green offensive line, was one of the least pressured quarterbacks in the FBS last week. I think it was like 69th in terms of pressure seen. That was on the road in Kyle Field. So this Texas A&M pass rush isn't the same. Is Taylor Green necessarily the guy I think, like, oh, don't give Taylor Green a clean pocket? Like, I don't know if he necessarily
No, and I think to your point, he thrives in, if they do get a rush,
chaos.
He's going to use his legs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not opposed to them just running jet sweeps with Satania, running the ball with Jackson, and letting Taylor Green run options. I mean, he can't really read a defense. That's his biggest flaw. He misses wide open guys all the time.
Yeah.
But if they can get it cleaned up, even just 70%, he'll be just fine, and I think Arkansas wins.
I don't have much faith for the Arkansas offense here, because Texas A&M has been defending the run well. But on the other side, I think Arkansas's defense might be equipped to give A&M problems, like we just talked about. I don't know if it's going to be Marcel Reed at quarterback or Connor Wegman. I don't know. I mean, I shouldn't say I don't care, but if it's Marcel Reed at quarterback, I think Arkansas is perfectly equipped to really give A&M's offense some problems. I think Marcel Reed had that game against Florida. I think there was an element of nobody knew what to expect. Completely took Florida off guard. He was 11 of 17, like 180 yards. He played well, right? Made some big plays with his arm. Next week against Bowling Green, he couldn't throw the ball on Bowling Green at home. So I don't really trust Marcel Reed as a passer right now. And Arkansas, surprisingly, they've actually been playing all right defense against the run. Texas A&M is starting to look like an offense that relies on the run. Maybe Connor Wegman comes back, and you know what? Connor Wegman has played better. Well, this isn't a home game, so never mind that. But maybe Connor Wegman comes back. That's the path I see. If you like A&M, Connor Wegman starts, and he has a big day throwing the football. Are you really trying to put your money on that? I got the under. I got it at 52.5. It's down to 51 now. I still like the under. Andy did make a graphic for me. I got under. Give me under 51.5, because you could still get a 51.5 prop here. So I have 52.5. 51.5 is cool. I think both offenses are in for some trouble here. And if Marcel Reed plays for Texas A&M, I think this is an easy cash. If Connor Wegman plays, maybe we see some more passing and I might be in trouble. But overall, I'm cool with my under here. Under 51.5, I'd still bet it there.
Yeah, I've become a big Sam Pittman fan over the last few weeks.
What happened? You hated him a month ago.
I will say this. There is no team that has surprised me more in, I guess, a positive way than Arkansas. I thought that this team was going to be dreadful. I thought they'd put up uncompetitive games against Oklahoma State. I thought they'd get beat by Auburn. Auburn looks awful. Arkansas surprised me a lot with kind of, I guess, their resilience, really, because, I mean, they haven't had good quarterback play, and they've been able to win games, so I'll give them credit there. In this matchup, I'd lean under as well. I just don't think either offense has enough to get to this number. I don't really care who the quarterback is for Texas A&M. I think Reed had a good first game, but again, we've seen that in the SEC in years past. Like, guys can come in, and if you're unprepared for a guy, you don't know what they're going to do. It's really hard to stop them. Kind of what I think Florida got caught up in, and Florida has a bad coaching staff anyway. So even if they were prepared, who would have cared? And then we saw the kid after that. Once the team got to prepare for him, and I mean, it was Bowling Green, and I obviously have said I think Bowling Green's best team in the MAC, but they were able to prepare and they stopped this offense pretty well. They only gave up 26 points and they nearly won the game. I think Arkansas can keep this team down point wise Texas A&M, and I clearly do not trust the Arkansas offense to put up many points at all. So I'd lean under. If I was to pick a side, I'd probably pick Arkansas because the number keeps going. I mean, I liked it at 3.5.
I can't believe you're a Sam Pittman guy now. You were,
yeah,
I
don't know where
swear.
this came from, but this team has surprised me, and I don't have a lot of faith in A&M because quarterback situations are very hard. And in the SEC, you have to have a guy that like you trust putting out there. Even though Arkansas, like Taylor Green's not great, they trust putting him out there. Like he's not going to make dumb mistakes. Like you're seeing what Auburn's doing right now. They don't know who the hell to play because everybody's making mistakes. I think Texas A&M's afraid of that situation right now because when Wegman was out there, he was awful. And when Reed was out there last week against Bowling Green, this offense was able to do nothing. So Texas A&M's in a tough spot offensively.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, take Luke Haas, whatever you want to say, H-A-S-Z. He's plus 250 to score an anytime touchdown. He got hurt last year in this game. We have not targeted him as much as he should be utilized in this offense. I know Petrino's got some stuff up his sleeve to get him involved. He's heard it. They've heard about it for 3 weeks. Why didn't Luke Haas getting the ball? H-A-S-Z.
Tight end.
Anytime
sophomore.
touchdown. And also, just so people know, I'm not always going to bet on Arkansas. They were just underpower-rated by everybody, in my opinion. They're finally creeping up to where they should be, just in time to get blown out by Tennessee next week. The look-ahead line, Matt Grill was on VSiN talking about the look-ahead line. I think it was Wednesday night. He had Tennessee minus 10, and I told everybody that could get it on DraftKings to go ahead and bet Tennessee. If Texas A&M loses this game to Arkansas is probably going to be, I don't know, plus 8.5, 9, somewhere in that ballpark.
17.
Right now, I think it's 12.5. I still like it. Tennessee's going to wax us.
Tennessee does look impressive. The final score of the Oklahoma game was not indicative of how that game looked. I mean, they were the much better team. Does anyone know? Quick question before we get out of here: is that did Oklahoma? Are they doing a quarterback change? No more Jackson Arnold because that kid looked.
Yeah, the Hawkins is starting.
He's 100% confirmed. Yo, that kid had some energy
He
to him.
has no receivers to throw to. Did you see their injury report? Like five wide receivers are out.
Yeah,
and
one of their running backs too, Tatum.
I saw a lot of people on YouTube, and I saw a lot of people that I would consider sharp taking Auburn this week.
So. Yeah, Thorne is playing quarterback for Auburn, so he's going to be favored over a ranked opponent.
Oh my god! Ugh.
I love that. Yeah. Honestly, I don't know who.
I don't think Oklahoma's defense is bad. I mean, I think this is just going to be an ugly game like it was last week for Auburn.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time believing that Auburn wins this game. Hugh Freeze has got it. He's out there throwing his players under the bus, saying he needs guys that can catch the ball. I don't know. I feel like
Hugh Freeze is good as a dog, but they're making him a favorite against
that's crazy.
A good defense.
That's crazy. But I mean, I think it's because some sharps are taking Auburn here. I think there's sharp money coming in on the Auburn side, so it makes sense.
And Auburn flipped to the favorite whenever, because Oklahoma was -2 like all week, and then once that injury report came out and you saw the long list of Oklahoma players out,
crazy.
Yeah,
there's been some crazy line movement today too. There was the Western Kentucky game too. They went down 5 points.
All right, and by the way, David Barney in the comment, I'll take your $50 bet. Give me Rutgers. He's saying he's in Washington, so he can't bet it either, and I'm in New Jersey. I can't bet it, so screw it. I'll take. Send me a DM on Twitter. I'll bet 50 with you. Give me RU. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., we're doing the big show. We're going through 29 games tomorrow morning. Hope to see you there. Grissom, thanks for joining. That's his. Oh, that's not his Twitter name below. Can you type his Twitter name on the screen, please? Yeah, the incorrect Twitter name. So it's Grissom on X. I actually know it. So
thank you. Good job.
Yeah, we usually have it on the screen for you, but we were rushing to get it going today. So Grissom on X is his name on Twitter. He's on all kinds of different shows. If you follow him on Twitter, he'll tweet out what he's doing. Really good stuff when it comes to the college football. He also does college baseball, college basketball, all of it. So. Make sure you guys give him a follow. We appreciate him taking the time to come on. Grissom, enjoy your weekend, buddy. Andy, I'll see you in the morning.
Yep.